Hello everyone, looking today at Carpenters pencils. Slight departure from my normal fare here, only slightly. But before we get to the meat of the video, I want to have a little audience participation here. And I want you to look at this Revmark Carpenter's pencil, and before anything else that you do, I would like you to go to the comments and tell me if you were going to use this pencil at the job site or at the desk to mark lumber or masonry or just write on paper, and you needed to sharpen it first, you pick it up, which end are you sharpening? Okay, so just the way I'm holding it here, which end? If you're going to sharpen the left end, tell me you're sharpen the left. If you're going to sharpen the right end, tell me you will sharpen the right. Having trouble speaking today. So left end or right end, as I'm holding it here. Take a good look at it. Which end are you sharpening? Now, not too long ago on social media, mostly Facebook, I think, there was a joke, a meme, a photograph going around that showed an advertising display at the entrance to a Home Depot store. And the display showed 2 buckets full of Carpenter's pencils, Home Depot Carpenter pencils, which, as an aside, made by Musgrave in Tennessee. That's neither here nor there. But in the photograph, the bucket on the left is labeled left-handed Carpenter pencils, and the bucket on the right is labeled right-handed Carpenter pencils. And I suppose the gag is there's no such thing as left-handed or right-handed pencils. Well, I have to disagree. At Home Depot, you can pick up a pencil like this one. Don't know where this was made. It was assembled in the USA, but don't know who made the parts and who assembled it. Doesn't matter. But looking at this pencil is a good demonstration of a right-handed pencil, because with a eraser, ferrule and eraser on it, there's only one end you can sharpen. And when you sharpen this end and write with it using your right hand, the print that says Home Depot is right side up. It's oriented properly for a right-handed writer. If a left-handed writer uses it, the text is upside down from the viewpoint of the writer. So there is such a thing as a left-handed or a right-handed pencil. Any of you who know pencils already knew that, but this may be news to some of you. So if the joke was there's no such thing as a left-handed or right-handed pencil, well, I disagree. You're not really going to use it any differently in your left hand, but it appears to be designed for a right-handed person. It seems like they're favoring right-handedness over left-handedness in the design of the pencil. And most pencils with ferrules and erasers are designed this way, but not all. Now, if the joke was that Carpenter's pencils are neither left-handed nor right-handed, that's a maybe better argument, because you can sharpen either end of a Carpenter's pencil, but I would still suggest that Carpenter's pencil have a built-in handedness involved. Let's look at this. The person has chosen to sharpen this as if it were for a right-handed person. So the print and the verbiage here on the pencil is right side up if you are marking and writing with your right hand, and would be upside down for a left-handed writer or carpenter or whoever is using the pencil. But if you notice, the product name or the business name is off here to the end that you are sharpening, and the end you are not sharpening has an ugly barcode and some information unrelated to the manufacturer. So most of the pencil that's left when you've sharpened it has no information about the company that this pencil was supposed to be advertising. So when you sharpen it, the name gets slowly whittled away. And whittled here in a very literal sense, because this was knife sharpened. We'll get to that in a moment. So I guess I would say this is actually a left-handed pencil that was sharpened by a right-handed person for use by a right-handed person. Do you disagree? Let's look at some more. This pencil was clearly designed for a right-handed person. They have the name of the company, Raymond Builders Supply. all the way at this end and nothing at this end to be sharpened away. So you're sharpening away blank space, and by the time it gets to this point, the pencil's almost too small to easily use, comfortably use anyway. So I would argue that this is a pencil designed for a right-handed person, not a left-handed person. Look at a Lowe's pencil. Lowe's has decided to be non-committal. They're Switzerland. They're going to just stay neutral in the right-handed versus left-handed debate. The logo is about equidistant from both ends, so whether you're sharpening it this way or this way, it's going to work. What else? Okay, I guess this is maybe non-committal. You've got a phone number here, but the logo over here, and lots of details all along the length of the pencil. So no decision on that. Irwin, I would say this is a left-handed pencil. The company name here on this end, the ugly barcode on this end, and the person who sharpened it as if it was for a left-handed person. So bravo, whoever did that. I don't think that was me. What else? Heart, same thing. These are sold at Walmart stores, also made in the USA, by the way. So I'm going to say probably also made by Musgrave. Could be wrong, but a left-handed pencil. The barcode is off here to the right. The print is right side up for a left-hander, not for a right-hander. Some old ones. Ritterhouse concrete products. Oh, I have a couple of those. I wonder if those were sent to me by Scott at Thrift Store Bibles, because those are from Pennsylvania. If so, thanks, Scott. I'm not sure where I got these, but clearly designed for a right-handed person. The logo and all the pertinent info off here to the end. So when you're sharpening for a right-handed person, you're sharpening away a bunch of nothingness until it gets too short to really be useful. They're kind of handsome pencils. I like the color. All right, here's one that another Thompsonized wood from Home Depot. They couldn't decide which end to sharpen, but I would submit this was designed for a left-handed person. So Home Depot does have left-handed pencils, but apparently only left-handed pencils, because all of the Home Depot pencils I have found have the logo at this end rather than at this end. Okay, that was a lot of info for a not very interesting discovery. Milwaukee, everything up and down the pencil, so they're not really making a decision. Any other interesting ones here? Owens Corning, that's right-handed. Anyway, okay, so getting back to the Revmark pencils, made in the USA. You can get them for, I think I got these for like 40 cents a piece, and that's about what you'll pay for one, between 40 and 80 cents at a lumber yard. Sometimes they'll give them free if you're buying a shipment of lumber. But this advertised on their site, Revmark, and they make a lot of like markers for construction, as well as office pens and things like that, made in the USA. Good American company, check them out, Revmark. They advertise these as all Ensign cedar and made in Tennessee, so good for them. That's why I picked some up, because why not? Plus, I like having a ruler on my pencil, because I do measuring often on reviews on my channel, so having the ruler there is useful. We've got inches on the top, centimeters on the bottom, so they're not taking sides in the imperial versus metric debate either. The logo is right in the middle, so they're not choosing left-handedness versus right-handedness, apparently, except when you start to sharpen it, you have to make a decision. What's going to be more useful if I actually want to use this as a measuring tool? If I want to use it as a ruler, which, if I'm in the trades, probably I already have a square, ruler, whatever is needed for the job. My measuring tape. I have it all already, so I'm unlikely to be using my pencil for that purpose. But if I did, I have to now make a choice. Because if I start sharpening in a way that seems natural to me as a right-hander, meaning so that the Revmark would be right side up, I'm sharpening away the 0, the 1/4 inch, the 1/2 inch, the 3/4 inch, and I'm shrinking the starting point of the ruler, when it makes more sense to shrink the ending point of the ruler up here at 7 inches, because I still have a 0 to start my measuring, right? Now, some smarty out there is going to say, well, you can just do the math in your head pretty easily. If you sharpen from this end, just pretend that's 0 and then 1, 2, 3, etc. I don't want to have to do math, okay? I don't want to have to do that in my head. I want the thing that's going to tell me how many inches or how many centimeters without me having to make adjustments in my head for, my own mistake in sharpening the wrong end. So is there a right answer for which end to sharpen? I would say this pencil looks like it's designed for a right-hander, but actually is designed for a left-hander because of the way the ruler is laid out. If you disagree, that's fine. You are probably really good at doing math quickly in your head. So maybe it's for a right-hander that's really good at doing math mentally on the fly, or a left-hander who's maybe not as good. There's probably some correlation in handedness and math aptitude. In fact, I'm certain there probably is. I'm certain there is. What that correlation is, I don't know. Okay, so if I were to sharpen this, and hey howdy hey, I actually did. I sharpened this end first. I sharpened it as if it was for a left-handed person because I wanted to sharpen it from the terminal end and not from the beginning end. Now, I then subsequently came back to prove a point and used the sharpener. Thanks, Pop, for finding this at a flea market. Talk about that in just a moment. But you can see how now 1 is the starting point rather than 0, and 1 is almost gone after just one sharpen. So, demonstrating the weakness in this particular design. So I guess I would tell the people at Revmark, as odd as it would be, have the logo facing this way, but the ruler upside down in relation to that. That way you're not taking sides in the handedness still. Or I guess you are. Maybe advertise them as left-handed and right-handed pencils, and the only thing different is the orientation of Revmark is flipped. Something to think about. If Revmark ever comes to me for product design advice, that's what I would tell them. Offer both. Okay. This sharpener works really well. Very sharp blade. Probably going to use it more for standard pencils. As it turns out, this Home Depot pencil, that's a jumbo, that's round, fits very nicely in there, and that's a good use for a sharpener like this, because a carpenter's pencil is just wasted in a sharpener like this. Even though it's specially designed for carpenter pencils, you're removing a whole bunch of graphite that's just wasted. Why are you using a rectangular graphite pencil if you're going to sharpen it to a point? That's wasteful. It doesn't make any sense. Use a regular pencil, or use one of these that you pick up at Home Depot that's still jumbo. It's going to not need sharpened very often because it's really thick, but it's a round graphite, so you're not wasting a ton of graphite to whittle it down to a point. Or use a knife. You get your Stanley knife. I appreciate that these are called Stanley knives, even though lots of companies make them. And I've been practicing, and I'm trying to get it where I can do it with just 4 cuts to get this kind of wedge-shaped point, and then maybe use some sandpaper to scrape it down to a wedge that's more usable. So anyway, that's my discussion of carpenter's pencils. I'm not a carpenter. I'm a hazard with a power tool. I'm clumsy. I do very little with things like that. But I'm a fan of Carpenter pencils because they are at heart pencils, and interesting ones at that. Thanks for hanging out with me through this discussion of Carpenter's pencils, handedness, building supply advertising, and Facebook memes. And I hope to see you here again next time. Lowe's decided not to commit one way or the other. They don't want to offend righties or lefties. They've placed their logo right in the middle and no other info. Good for you, Lowe's. This one truly is ambidextrous, left-handed or right-handed. Do you hear the cicadas here? Filming outside, thought it would be a good idea. Maybe it wasn't. Lowe's, truly ambidextrous. Knitter House Concrete Products from Chambersburg, PA. I wonder if Scott at Thrift Store Bible sent this to me. I'm not certain. I'm pausing because there is a caterpillar on the brim of my hat that is driving me insane. I'll show it to you here at the end. Committed to a right-handed pencil. Do you see this guy? Do you see that? He's on my microphone, which is clipped to the brim of my hat so I don't breathe too heavy into it. That is an attractive but funky caterpillar. I hope you can see that. What is this guy all about? And why is he on my microphone? All right, I don't want to be mean to the feller, but he needs to get off. There. He's on the DeWalt pencil now. DeWalt is going to go down there. So Revmark, I would just recommend the caterpillar's back. He came all the way back. He's on my tripod. Revmark. This is really horrible video. I would recommend